Hello and welcome to another episode of the Possibility Partner Show. Woohoo and mwah! I'm Ande Lyons, your host and Chief Possibility Officer over at AndeLyons.com, where I have the privilege and honor to share and provide senior level business advice to entrepreneurial adventurers who are launching, branding, and building their businesses. With my MBA and 4 companies under my tiara, I just love sharing strategies and solutions with entrepreneurs to help them really grow, build, and feel comfortable with their business. I mean, problems happen left and right, and a lot of times you know the solution is right there, right? You know it, but gosh, why spend one more minute thinking about it? Give me a call. I'd love to help you out. I'm highly solution-oriented. Just wanted to share that before we get started with my wonderful guest today, Nancy Tierney. Oh my gosh, this sassy founder of Firecracker Communications.com is going to light up our world today with her fireworks. Nancy, please say hello to everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Where are you hanging from? Where are you hanging from?
I'm hanging from Kingston, New York.
Where the heck is Kingston, New York?
It's interesting when people ask me that. I either say, well, it's about 2 hours north of New York City, or I sometimes say, well, do you know where Woodstock is? It's like 20 minutes from Woodstock. So
okay.
That's where it is, upstate New York, along the Hudson River.
I like to get in my head on, where on the map is the person. So I hope that was helpful to you guys. I love Nancy Tierney. I ran into Nancy when I was creating a sales page for Bring Back Desire. And wow, her sharp wit, her sense of humor, her ability to just pull words together that connect, not just with anybody, with your ideal client. She's remarkable. And I'd like to dive right in with Nancy right now to find out what compelled you, Nancy darling, to become an entrepreneurial adventurer. I mean, you were minding your own business when? What happened?
Oh, wow. It actually happened quite a while ago. I was working in the wine industry and public relations, and it was actually an idea that was given to me by a friend at the time. He said, why don't you start your own PR agency and deal, with clients on a one-to-one basis and represent more wineries. And I did it, and I got a real good taste of it. And then I got scared of it, and I went back kind of into the workforce because it felt a little bit more secure. And then, I've always been driven or led by my interest, and if my interest led me in that direction, then I would do it. So I think I became an official, never turn back entrepreneur when I actually got into neuromuscular therapy and orthopedic massage work. So I was doing that back in California a long time ago. But that was the place where I started, and then I just knew I couldn't. I couldn't go back into kind of more of a routine work environment with someone else kind of setting my direction or my interests or my hours or anything. It was like I was out of the cage and I couldn't be shoved back in.
I understand. I mean, I've been unemployable since 1992. I mean, the 2 times that I did get hired, I was fired within so many months. I wonder why. So, Nancy, why do you think entrepreneurs go off on these adventures, like Lewis and Clark? What do you think compels them to think that there's this other world for them to explore other than a desk job?
Well, I think now they're seeing so many other people do it. It's kind of an epidemic. It's an entrepreneurial epidemic where, especially when the jobs now available aren't as safe and cushy, and you're not going to have it like you thought you were going to have it. Even though you have the salary, they can get rid of you in an instant. That's always been the case, but I think more and more people are seeing just how unsecure they thought something secure was. So they're looking at other options, and actually, in some ways, not always, working for yourself is even a little bit more secure. I mean, because you can fire yourself, I guess, but I think that's it, and I think there's a lot of people that have always had this creativity, and they're watching other people do these things. They go, "I want a piece of that, and that would be so cool, and maybe I can do this." And yeah, and I think they're seeing that it can work, and so they're going, "I'm going to try it. I'm going to go out and see if I can make it work for me," which is good and bad. Well, but we can talk about that later.
I know, and it's so important. I find that the entrepreneurial journey provides an opportunity us to get deeper with who we are, where we're going, etc. What would you call the freedom myth? You talked about that with me last week, and I found that fascinating. What is that?
Yeah, when we were talking, it was like, that's some of the inspiration where people think that when they become an entrepreneur, they're going to have so much freedom. And I'll be honest, it was for me. It's like I got a taste of it, like, being able to set my own hours and, go to the grocery store in the middle of the day if I wanted to. It was some little things that felt freeing. And I think that's true. It's like there is that ability to do that as an entrepreneur. But I think the myth comes in that there's also... it's also a lot of work. It's like when we were talking, it's like you better be sure that whatever it is that you're doing, it's like turns you on and that you actually could get fed by it whether you are getting paid for it or not, because you will work more. I mean, I have friends that are still working regular jobs, and they come home and they're done, and they have whole weekends, and in a way I get jealous. It's like, well, what? Because when you become an entrepreneur, it's kind of an all-time deal, and in some ways you're not as free because you have such a huge responsibility to your business. So you better be sure that business is really, really feeding you, because then you won't mind. But if you're doing it because you think you're going to make money at it and it's not really aligned with who you are, you're not going to feel free. You're going to feel imprisoned and you're going to quit. So that's the myth. It's actually there is that freedom spark. It's like it looks so good, but then in the reality, especially when you're starting up, oh my God, you have very little if you're going to make it work in those first 3 to 5 years. It's very demanding, much more so than getting a 9-to-5 job. And
you just said the magic word, 3 to 5 years. Again, everyone, you've got to give time for your business to grow and delegate whenever possible. I know it can be hard. Oh, I could do that, or I could figure that out. Unless it's your sweet spot, unless you get up in the morning and go, oh, I really want to do that. Yes. It's something that you can delegate. And I always encourage entrepreneurs to step back and treat their business like a business and really be a CEO of their business and their life, and making sure they do compartmentalize. But you're right. In those early days, when you're fully immersed in your passion, in your dream, you are getting fed. And that's why it's so important that you're doing something that feeds you. I love that you said that, Nancy, because that will nourish you when you are in those big dips and those valleys.
Yeah.
You talk a lot about, too, how the beauty of the entrepreneurial adventure is the deeper relationship that we create with ourselves, that it brings us closer to something that's bigger than ourselves, to universal energy, to spirit, whatever you might call it. Would you share more about that?
Yes, I speak from my own self, and I also speak from the people that I know that have been on this entrepreneurial adventure, as you say, for a while. And as you grow, I think we're drawn to it because we know there's a lot of self-discovery involved in it. It's like we know that things are gonna come up, and we're gonna learn what it is that we really believe and who are we really in the world and within ourselves. But I think in order to do that, in order to come up against some of the things that we will come up against, it drives us deeper within. And that, like, do I really want to do this? And why am I doing this? And, what is this really about for me? And those questions will, lead us deeper into ourselves, and also the relationship between, who we are in the world and also who we are with that part of us that's greater. I mean, if you look at some of the most prominent entrepreneurs internet-wise, I'm going to speak in the marketing field because that's kind of where I hang out. Most all of them, the top end ones, end up really coming out as being very spiritual. And it's because their business has driven them so deep, and they realize this thing that has worked for them is by incorporating this spiritual side of themselves and drawing on it and drawing on it. Because as you get more out in the world and famous, it's like more people throw stones at you. You become a bigger billboard to deface. So you need a lot of inner, to really keep moving forward. And I think that this path, it drives you to that deeper essence.
Right.
Spirit. What is it that you believe? How do you get fully resourced? And that's what I mean. I know it's been true for me, and it's been true for a lot of people that I've seen that are really doing it at a big level.
Right. I think you have to become an observer so that when those rocks hit your billboard, you're like, dust that off, or you don't even feel them.
Right.
Because it's never about you. It really isn't. You're running your business. You're doing your work in the world. You're sharing your gifts. You're serving those people who care and who you want to help. Their feedback is important, and you can tailor and shift, etc., with what you're doing in life. But I know for me personally, the struggles I've gone through, and I recently read a Seth Godin blog post about looking at his career as projects instead of businesses. And it gave me goosebumps, because when you look at them, each thing that you've done, especially a serial entrepreneur like myself, you look at them as projects. Some were pretty stupid. Others were great. And others, you learned this or that from. It's all good. It's one lily pad to another. Don't get stuck on this being the only business ever. I want to bring up Kaylin Amadeus' comment here. 3 to 5 years, and then you realize you need to change it all.
That can be true. I think that's part of it too. It's like you start out with one thing, and as you go like, I'm not sure, and you do get clearer sometimes. Sometimes starting is the hardest part, but
right. Yeah. And I also want to just bring up Nazim. He's over in Italy, Nancy, and his comment is, being your own boss is super liberating. And wow, I agree 100% with you, Nazim. It's so true. So Nancy, you were talking a little bit there about how we do need to protect ourselves, or really what I call the gentle care and feeding of our minds. And that's the words that we can use in the daily practices to really help us stay focused, stay committed, and to uplift us on those days that we really don't want to get out of bed. Yeah. And so what do you do? What practices do you have in place to help?
Oh, I have so many. Well, one is writing. Every morning it's like, there's this thing that Julia Cameron called morning pages. I kind of do a version of that, which is like, it's kind of just a brain dump. But it's also the way I connect up with spirit, for lack of a better word. It's like, where am I? Where am I right now? There's all this stuff in my head, but let's get that out, and then let's see, let's line up the day, and let's line up with what's true and with where I want to go, as opposed to what happened yesterday. And that's actually, I couldn't live without it. I could not live without that. And then I do have a meditation practice that I've had for years, which is just another way to kind of to recenter and to kind of contact something that's a little bit larger than me. So that's absolutely true. But I think the other thing for us as entrepreneurs is we need support systems. We need friends, we need advisors, we need mentors, we need people around us that don't have a different skill set than us. And especially on those days when you don't want to get out of bed, oh my gosh, it's like those days where you've really had it hard. That's when you need to call in the troops.
Call in the troops.
Call in the troops. So that's a very important thing, that you have someone and people like that to support you.
I love that advice, Nancy. Nancy's referring to The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. Those morning pages, you can just flow stuff right out of your system. You can let go of those negative words, and you can let go of yesterday, because you're not going that way. You're going forward. Yeah. And I love the idea, too, of really having your inner circle These are the folks who celebrate you, that you can be vulnerable with, that
Yeah.
your well-being is entrusted to. And it's just so important. And you know who you are in my life, Deborah Oakland, Cherie Valentine, Claire Glazer, Kaylin, I can always count on you. It's just a wonderful group of women who I rely on to take me and hold me and remind me of who I am. So all you entrepreneurial adventurers, I highly recommend that you find that group that you feel safe with, and that is absolutely key. And sometimes we aren't as discerning as we'd like to be in that. Right, Nancy? Sometimes we think we've got someone that we can trust in our inner circle, and that kind of falls through.
You'll learn. Yeah, and you'll trust people, and it won't work out, and that's how you'll learn. But you have to at least try. You have to at least try, because you do need. We cannot do this alone. We're not even meant to do it alone. So you'll learn. But those people that you can trust, oh my gosh, they're just gems, absolute gems.
They absolutely. How much fun are we having today, learning from this incredible firecracker goddess, Nancy Tierney of firecrackercommunications.com. I'm thinking we're having some serious Andelicious advice here for all you entrepreneurial adventurers. Hey, Nancy, is there like a time, like something that in your entrepreneurial adventure that really stands out for you, that you learned the most from?
Yeah, actually, and that was failing miserably. I had a business that I loved, and as you say, a project. It was a project, and the work was great. It was a total success, but it was a financial failure. It was basically I was helping entrepreneurs be able to speak in public without melting into a puddle of nerves, and it was really about the inner confidence. It wasn't about how to give a good speech. So the work itself was great, and I loved it. I loved working with people at that level, but I learned really quickly that it's hard to have a business that's based on asking people to face what they're afraid of. It's just really difficult because they think they want to do it, and then when it comes right down to it, it's like, I don't need to really speak in public. I can find a way around this. So financially, it just tanked. But I learned so much from that. I learned a lot. Actually, this is really great. Not to take everything so personally, because that's another thing we do as entrepreneurs. It's like if we love what we're doing and we have so much of ourselves invested in it and so much of who we are, that if something doesn't work or if this program doesn't pan out, or it's like we go, we're just like ruined. We're like ruined at like a deep level, and you got to get over that. You just got to cry for a day. Yes, you can have a whole day. Cry for a day and then snap out of it and just go, okay, what really happened here? And what can I learn from this? And what do I need to modify? And that's what I really learned from that whole experience was, I think a lot of things that stopped me shouldn't have. And I didn't know that till it all kind of just crumbled. And I realized that you do something and then you do it again and then you tweak it and you do it this way and you just keep moving forward if it's still calling to you. Don't do something once and go, that didn't work. I'm just canning it. It's like, forget about it. You just have to, like any event planner will tell you, when you first do an event, it's like that first year, it's like, there's not many people showing up. There's things that fall apart. It's the second year. And then it's the third year, and then all of a sudden by the fifth year, you're raking in the bucks. It's the same way with our little projects. You just have to keep walking forward and not take things personally. Everything's an invitation to learn. So yeah, I learned a lot from that. And the business folded, but the process of that's where I learned all about internet marketing. That's actually where I honed a lot of my copywriting skills. It's where I got totally fascinated with social media. So there was all these gifts that came out of it that I just moved over to what I'm doing now.
Right, and see, success is a personal view, a personal perception. So Nancy had a phenomenally successful experience, even though perhaps she couldn't monetize it. Oh boy, do I know that feeling. And yes, I do know about talking about a topic that is rather taboo. I learned a lot from Bring Back Desire around bringing up topics that people really didn't want to talk about in public. And it really helped me as well in the internet marketing. So every business, every endeavor you go and pursue, please trust and know that it's going to teach you what you need to know for that next lily pad. So Nancy, I just want to bring up a quick comment here from Crystal. She's such a great gal online. She says, this is so useful. Looking at my businesses as projects, that makes it easier to let it go emotionally and see it as a stepping stone rather than a failure. Thank you for that. It's so true. Success is everywhere. It's just what lens are you looking at the situation with? And try not to judge yourself too harshly. Be gentle with your experiences. So, Goddess Nancy, let's talk about why clarity of purpose and message are prerequisites for success. Because you say if you can't communicate what you do, if you can't verbalize it, then you don't have a business. So please expand on this.
Yeah, it's just like anyone can have an idea. And anyone can have a vague idea. But if you can't communicate what it is, if you can't put it into words that someone else can understand, you can enjoy it. But it's just an idea. It's not a business. And I also feel the actual process of being able to take what it is, what your intention is, what your mission is, even what your idea is, and the process of taking that and putting it into some kind of communication that someone else can receive and respond to, that in itself helps define what it is that you're doing. Sometimes you do have an idea and it's not even clear to you, but the actual process of trying to communicate it and fumbling around with the words necessary to do it can actually not only help you communicate this idea, but actually clarify the idea itself. And actually, it creates an inner confidence. When you can communicate it, you feel more confident in what it is that you are offering because it's just clear. You can say it. Someone can go, what? And it's just you don't have anything unless someone can actually respond to what it is that you're doing. It's like you can do it all by yourself, but we know what that is. Right. So, yeah.
And it's very handy in that elevator when someone says, so what do you do professionally? Having that handy. Yeah. But also, Nancy, you talk about the how has to become more important than the what. How we do what we do becomes more important than what we do. What do you mean by that? Because I think that's so cool.
Well, I think there's certain people that are very turned on by their what. It's like they feel consumed by what it is they have to offer and what it is that they're doing in their business, and they're on this crusade. I know so many. There are these entrepreneurs that want to change the world. They want to change people's lives, and then there's some of us that. And I'm one of them. It's like, I fell into this because I was good at it. It's not like I had some burning mission to help people write their own marketing copy. It's like, it's just, and I found it, so for me, for some of us, it's like how you do the what, whatever it is your what is that you happen to be good at or that you have chosen to be the center of your entrepreneurial adventure. That's all good and well, but it's how you do it. It's like how you bring yourself to it, how you do your day, how you structure your business that actually in some ways can feed you more, not going to say more than the what, but equally to your what. It actually becomes, that as part of the freedom we talked about as entrepreneurs is how we do our business, how we do our day. So I think, and I know for me, I'm always working on the how. It's like, the how is very interesting to me.
Yeah, I think, too, that falls into the whole branding aspect, too, because it's how you promise to deliver, how you promise to evoke the emotion in your ideal clients to help them then become evangelists for you. I feel very strongly about that. And your how can be whatever you need your how to be. It's just tune in and also look at your work, what you're doing, and don't do it like anybody else. You have your own how.
You do. And actually in teaching copy, that's so true too, because there are these formulas, but you have to discover the how that works for you. It's like there's these principles. Okay, good, I've learned those, but then how do you do it? I think that it's true with any creative act as well, whether it's writing or, painting, whatever. Your how and how you're able to do it is something very unique to you.
Absolutely. And what is the writing for copy? How is that different than writing for, let's say, video trailers, in case someone who happens to be interviewing you today might need to get her video trailer done for her YouTube channel? Just asking.
Well, in some ways it's not different in that the message is very much targeted for your audience. So I mean, you're basically, I think of copy as basically a one-sided conversation where there's only one person talking, but there actually is another person. So you are in a conversational relationship like you would be in a video. I mean, like when you're giving a video, is actually you're talking to the other person that happens to be watching it, and you're very conversational, and you're imagining that other person is there when you're making it. And in that way, copy is very much the same. It's like you want a conversational tone, a very casual, open, style to it. You don't want it to read like a book or a formal dissertation. It is like, hey, there you are, here I am, this is what's going on, I see you, here you go. And in a video, I think the advantage to video is your personality is right there. You have the visual, people can get so much of you in a way out of a video. And copy, when there's just the written word, you have to infuse a little bit more of your personality into the actual words and actually the way that you write them in order for people to get a flavor of what you're all about. And in video, it's there so you can really get to your message, and people will hear your message in the way that you intend it with your personality, and that's the advantage of video. The disadvantage is that video's got to be short. It's just got to be short. It's like in, out. And copy these days is getting shorter, but you have the opportunity to go a little bit more deeper into what it is that you want to say and your point that you want to make.
I love that. And folks, you've got to visit firecrackercommunications.com and grab Nancy's videos. She has this 5-step. What's your wonderful freebie that you have there, Nancy?
Oh, a 5-step formula to what is it? Is transform your website into a client connection machine.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, her videos, they come right after another. She's talking to you. They're phenomenal, and they're a great example. But share with everybody, Nancy, how they can work with you, what services do you provide, and everything about Firecracker Communications.
Everything. Oh, everything about. Right now, I'm focusing on really helping people be able to write and edit their own compelling, creative copy. So when you have to write an email, or you have to write your sales page, or you have to write in a landing page for whatever it is that you're doing, you know how to do it in a way that people are going to respond to it, in a way that people can resonate with it. And it's what we call direct response copywriting, which is you're writing in order to inspire a response from the person who's reading. And you're creating something with the intention that it's going to create something inside the person who's reading it, and there's going to be an action on the other end. So right now I'm working with people one-on-one, whether you have something already and you just know it's not working. we do a lot of emergency work, which this isn't working, please help, where we do that. And also when you're just starting and you know you have to write the homepage of your website or something, and it's like, what? I don't even know how to begin. I help people with that too, and just really take you kind of step by step and hold you by the hand. But it's really about giving you the power to do it yourself. I call it your copywriting superpower, because once you have it, it is a superpower. Then you have everything that you need really to market your business and to get your business out there. And once you know how to do it, it's like there's nothing stopping you. There's nothing stopping you.
And I feel so strongly that when people land on your website, you got to be able to grab them right then and there. And there's nothing like using wonderful words. I mean, you use, call it internet marketing, call it social media, call it a grilled cheese sandwich. When I read that, I laughed out loud. I thought that was great, Nancy. But everyone, please link in, subscribe to Nancy's YouTube channel, follow her on Facebook and Twitter. She's so engaging, she's sassy, she's fun, and you can learn so much from her. And now I got to grab the doggy bag and bring this puppy home. I am so grateful. I mean this sincerely. I'm so grateful, Nancy, that you could join me today and share your inspiration and your information for the entrepreneurial adventurers out there. I'm also truly grateful for all of you viewers taking time out of your very busy lives to join us for this conversation on how to communicate to connect. It's so important in your business to find out what your voice is and how you can use your voice and who you are and how you do your work to reach the people who need your services, who need the gifts that you have in the world to make their world a better place. And speaking of that, for any of you entrepreneurs who are feeling overwhelmed and wondering, gosh, what is the solution to this problem? Or you need some help, what I call the Ask Andy or the Just Do It Andy, please visit andelyons.com. I have so much experience with so many businesses. There's not a business I don't understand or can't solve a problem for. And I've got the most amazing providers, service people in my stable who can help you. I can introduce you to for any of the things that you have going on that you need help with. So I hope you reach out and say hello. I'm grateful for this time with all of you. I've got next week, next Tuesday, I have Don Purdom joining me. I hope you can swing by and join me for that episode. He's an amazing entrepreneurial adventurer. And I love to end with one of my favorite Maya Angelou quotes, which is, "We all have it in us to be splendid." Remember that, okay? I'm going to put the link into the live event track, event comments for those of you who would like to join us in the green room. See you soon. Mwah. Bye, Nancy.
Bye.